Howdly doodly.
Howdly doodly. Welcome back to the Professionally Hot podcast. Is this our fourth episode?
This
I
is
don't
episode
know.
number 4.
They all blend together at some point.
Hmm.
I think today we are talking about how to be professionally hot because I'm sure you're all wondering how to
Yeah,
be
this was
professionally
actually,
hot.
Ken's, I don't know how we didn't think that people wouldn't ask this question. Like in all the conceptualization for the podcast that we did, which honestly was just having FaceTime conversations and then deciding
Yeah.
we should have a podcast, but whatever. Um, Neither of us ever thought for one second that people would say, "Oh, professionally hot podcast. Are you going to tell me how to be professionally hot?"
We're like, nope.
It's like, no. Why? Why do you want to know?
That's weird of you to ask, actually.
How am I supposed to know?
I just assume that everyone that listens is already professionally hot and that
Yeah.
they just like are like, yes, because I don't know, I think I I grew up professionally hot. So you guys need to get with the program. But we actually are here today to tell you how to do that. And
Yeah.
um
We're going to give you a step-by-step tutorial
yeah.
on how to be professionally hot. We should probably talk about what that even means.
Yeah.
What is our term again? I don't remember.
Fuck, I don't either. Number one of being professionally hot, forget everything that is in your brain.
Just don't have any thoughts.
Yeah. And smooth brain only. You don't need a brain to be professionally hot. You just gotta be hot, pretty much. I mean, like, I'm pretty much hot for like 50% of the time. I think the other 50% I'm a dying rat, and that's totally okay. We were just talking about this last night that we deserve to have space to be disgusting, you know?
Oh yeah, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
well then I'm gonna launch into
yes,
actually some let's talk about
please
some
launch at
stuff.
me.
All right, I'm launching directly at you.
Number two
Oh.
professionally hot thing to do.
Okay, so what professionally hot is not is just being hot.
Yeah.
Like being hot is being hot. Everybody knows being hot is like looking good, and it's also like a vibe. Like, hot people are just hot people. They're attractive physically, energetically, or however you want to say it.
Yeah, you've got
But
Riz.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God,
I
right.
know.
Sorry, I forgot I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we had a term for Riz beforehand, and it was called game. All right.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Anyway, being professionally hot is not just being hot, right? Like
Right.
being hot is everybody knows how to be hot. You just look really good and you attract people with your really sexy personality. And there you go, bada bing, bada boom. You are
Yeah.
hot.
Not
Being
much
professionally
work.
hot is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can involve being regular hot, right? It can involve being like physically attractive. It can involve having the chutzpah, as you like
Yes, I
to
do like
put
to
it.
say that. Yeah, it
But
helps for sure to just be hot
yeah,
already.
yeah, but there's more to it than just that, I think.
Yes.
Ken's, how would you describe professional hotness?
I think being in Arizona and having the like Scottsdale scene compared to the Phoenix scene, people are less worried about being professionally hot. You have like really beautiful girls that, you know, are working at front desks or restaurants and stuff, and like they have to be a very specific type of hot. It is like, you know, no colored hair. You have to be skinny pretty much. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's rare that you see a big bodied woman hanging out at the front desk, and like that's just the Scottsdale mindset. But in Phoenix you have like the more like hipster artsy kind of people, and you have all these like different types of I'm saying women because like that's like, you know, being a cam model and stuff, that is our audience for that part. But the women in Phoenix that are, you know, working in professional settings are much cooler. And I think like the cool part, like you think about Rihanna, like she's not only just hot, but she is fucking cool. And I think
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of the cool parts, you know, the things that like make you unique and like, you know, like that girl's sick kind of mentality
Mm-hmm.
is like what the Phoenix area is trying to give out. And I think, you know, where you live also is that same kind of vibe. Like you're not looking at like women sitting at front desks being like all in business attire, and that's like the, you know, that's where their hotness is coming from. Now it's like, oh, like they actually look fucking cool, and that makes them professionally hot. At least that's my opinion on it, where like you don't really have to have a specific kind of thing going on. It really is about like, what do you like, and how, like, if you're confident enough to be able to do those things, like have piercings or colored hair, or, you know, like not being worried about being stick thin. I think like that can also be a professionally hot thing nowadays. Like you go into a tattoo shop, you don't want someone that's not tatted and, you know, like is wearing a business professional suit. You'd be like, why are you here? You know? So I think like that for me is like the professional hot part that's really starting to, you know, change. And I think people are more, you know, for when it comes to hiring and stuff, a lot more people are okay with people being a little bit more out there, if that's like the right word to use, you know, just tatted or colored hair kind of shit. So yeah, I think, you know, I found an article earlier it's a 2012 article, because I searched how to be professionally hot, and the only things that came up were how to be hot or how to be business professional in a really hot like environment.
Oh wow.
But there is one that is how to be sexy at the workplace, which I don't think is appropriate, like because of the Me Too movement and everything. Like you want to like not have to, especially in a business setting. But this basically has 8 things on it. I'll read them real quick. The first one is, if you work somewhere that requires a suit, make sure it's fitted and hugs you. Would hate that, like uncomfortable. If the dress code is a little bit looser, wear a lacy blouse. It also says, what can be sexier than lace? And it's like, well, when your coworkers are a male dominated industry, maybe don't wear those things. And then it says, pull your hair back and wear some pearls. Pearls can amp up your good girl sex appeal. This is also Cosmopolitan 2012. So
good Lord,
not a good time. A wrap dress, which is honestly triggering for me. Like any of those like bondage, like bodycon type dresses make me want to vomit. And then it says, wear brighter colors. For the days that you are actually like hot temperature wise, wear your hair in a bun with sexy earrings. And then it says, if you're feeling sexier than usual, put on red lipstick and black eyeliner. And then the last one is, confidence is key to everything. So make sure you walk into the office like you own the place. And I think the only one that actually is legit is the confidence part, which goes back to what I was saying earlier, that like confidence is all like, that is professionally hot to me. Like, you know, when you just have that confidence and it doesn't matter what other people think, you're already professionally hot. And I think both of us are good at having confidence and also like faking confidence when we need it. You feel me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you? What is your professionally hot description?
How do I define my terms? I think professional hotness, or being professionally hot, is having a type of like grit, or I guess you could say like tenacity, drive, determination that makes you like different from the average hottie.
Yeah.
I think that a professionally hot person is willing to make sacrifices to get to where they either like want to be or need to be, that the average person just wouldn't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think a lot of you'll hear from people like they'll if someone, you know, says, oh, you know, I admire what you do, I could just never do it myself. I don't actually think that that's as bad a comment. Sometimes, you know, sex workers will say that it's very annoying, or sometimes like even derogatory, when people will say like, oh my God, like I could never do what you do. But it's true.
Yeah.
Right. Like that is, if they say shit like that, they really mean like, I don't have what you have. I don't have that drive, that like fire, you know, to really bear it all, to strip. You know, if you're looking at your options and you say, okay, I could do this, and this, but this option here is going to work for me best. that person's professionally hot.
No, that's very true. I think also just like admitting that you're not able to be up to those like standards is their
Yeah.
own version of professionally hot too. I mean, I think about like when I first was getting into the industry, I was like, should I work at like a strip club, but not like as a stripper, but as a front desk girl? And I
Mhm.
went and applied to different places, and I was just such a baby. Like I didn't even know what, like I wore like a nice dress to like see if they
Yeah.
could hire me.
Yeah.
And like thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my God, like no wonder you didn't get hired. And it's like, it makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense because they weren't looking for someone that was like cutesy. They wanted someone that was, had that front desk stripper girl kind of mentality. And now even today, I'm like, I could never be a stripper, and I give them all the respect and
Yeah.
admiration, but I know personally that I could not handle that, and that is because I am weak.
Dude, I'd break my fucking ankles. Who's joking?
I think I'd
Like,
get
I'm
fired
sorry.
for
Like,
punching someone. Like I don't want to
yeah.
be touched and being online. And anytime I've gone to strip clubs, the girls, that are working there are always trying to convince me to become a stripper. I'm always trying to convince them to try out camming. And I think like that is a perfect example that like, you're in that industry because you are good at it, and not like if it was easy, you would just do it, and it's not. It's just and
Yeah.
it goes for any job. Like I also
Yeah.
could not work in the Scottsdale restaurants. I would be like intimidated first of all, and I think me being a different person than that look, like my roommate fits in really well with that look. She's very like groomed and clean girl aesthetic, and
Yeah.
I'm just not, and that's fine. Like I'm totally, okay with that, but I'm also aware that like if I wanted to go get one of those jobs, I'd probably have to dye my hair. Like I would not doubt if I walked in and they were like, you look great, but at the same time, like there are things that need to be fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my God. I have a question for you. And I'm
Yes.
thinking about a specific thing
Yes.
that we encountered actually on your birthday trip to Mexico. Okay.
Okay.
Instead of like trying to explain like professional hotness, like
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to say like this is professionally hot, how do you know that you can see like a sex worker in the wild?
Mm.
Like, because you know how sometimes you clock people, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, just for me personally, I don't know if it's just like what, like how my brain is like latching onto this, but like I think that like being professionally hot for the most part, like it does mean like being a sex worker or being sex work adjacent,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what we're saying. Like, everything from like strip club bartenders, strip club waitresses, servers, whatever,
Yeah. Sexes
down
and
to even
everything.
like I don't know. I think some realtors are
Oh yeah.
pretty slutty.
Yeah. No, it's
Like I
so
think real
true.
estate is really slutty.
Yeah, it is. You're literally, I mean, like, I think every single
Right?
industry, you're selling sex in some way. Like, there's always going
Yeah.
to be some, even if it's just a little sprinkle of it, like, it's going to be there. And sometimes it's very loud, and you have like girls that are sitting in bars, and you're like, they are an escort. And that's awesome. I love that for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then you have people
exactly.
like realtors, or even, like, the amount of times that I've walked into a doctor's office and I'm like, you're too sexy to be working here.
Right. And for why?
Yeah.
Like, what are you even doing there?
Yeah, are you fucking the doctor? Because that's what I would do. Like
Oh
personally,
my God. Thank you.
that is what I would be.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
The doctor is professionally hot.
I mean, sometimes I have a really hot chiropractor, and it makes me uncomfortable sometimes because I'm like, I know you're touching me professionally, but you're also hot.
Dude, crunch me harder, daddy.
No, but
well,
yeah.
okay, then I think okay. So I think then if professionally hot means like, you're either in sex work or you're sex work adjacent in some way, or you're using like sex and sexuality to get a leg up, whether it's like in your industry or
Mhm.
it is your industry.
Yeah.
Then it kind of also hinges on someone knowing how to work what they were given, right?
Mhm.
Like work with what they were given. So like the way you look, the way you can act, like the way you know things, kind of like work what you got to get to where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the
That's
professionally hot slogan right there. Like, because that is for any industry, to be honest,
like that's the job description.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
So it doesn't really have like too much to do with like what you look like or like how like you act, how it's just kind of broad, but It's like when you take a good hard look at like yourself and you're like, okay, like for me, my professional hotness, right? It started with me looking at a possibility. I wanted to like go back to school to be able to make rent and shit while studying.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, that's where I want to go to.
Yeah, side note, you were
But
so professionally hot in school. Like I remember
oh
dropping
yeah,
you
super
off and you
professional
were
in
just
school.
like, I was like, wow. Like even watching you like walk to the car or something, I was like, wow, she is a student. Like
Dude,
very important person right there.
that was my boss bitch era, I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
Yeah.
like always a boss bitch, but damn,
Yeah.
I was doing it
You
at
really
that
were.
point.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
you're still
great.
impressive, but you know what I mean? Like it's
No, it's true.
the school vibes is a whole other thing. Like there's such a like in a weird, I mean, at least for my brain, I definitely like fetishize it in a not
Yeah.
like sexual way, but I'm like going to school and like having that, like I love when people are like, what's your job? And they're like, oh, I'm a student. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, okay then. Like
I know. I also love
fine.
that way too much.
Yeah, as you should. Like that's a really, I don't know, that's like
Yeah.
that's a very like trust fund kid thing to say in my opinion, and I'm
Oh.
here for it. Like I love that. I'm like, yes,
Mhm.
you are. You are.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow. You have enough money to attend academia? That's
Yeah,
disgusting.
and then you
Good for
just
you.
don't casually work. Like that's cool. I mean, obviously you worked and stuff, but even the job that you had was still like, there's tons of people that are putting themselves through school in very different ways, and
Yeah.
kudos to all of
Yeah.
them, but like you at least
Oh,
got
sure.
to be at home and like in the comfort of your own space and stuff, and then
Yeah.
had to leave for school, and that's professionally hot.
Well, and I mean, I think it was also like realizing that being hot professionally was like on my list of like these are the things I could do.
Yeah.
It was also like kind of one of the only things that I knew I would pull off, right? Like
Yeah.
at the time, I was like, okay, I can either choose to be professionally hot, so like go into the sex industry, use the way I look, and the way I kind of know how to be
Right.
to make money, or like I can go get a second job, right? Like I'm working 40 hours a week already, but maybe I could go like work in a restaurant as well, or I could work weekends, or I could like do cleaning gigs, or you know what I mean? Like there's like any number of things that a person can do to get to what they want financially.
Yeah.
But not everybody picks camming.
No, it's
I
definitely
think it
a
takes
niche.
it takes an interesting type of person to look at that and go, oh, I could do that.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
And so I think that's a big part of like how to be professionally hot. It's like you either, I mean, I don't know. What is it like?
It's finding what works for you. Yeah, it's so true. Like if camming doesn't work, you're not going to feel professionally hot. Did you feel professionally hot when you were working at the lawyer's office?
Oh my God, not at all.
Yeah,
it was painful.
That's how I felt when I was working for the bathtub company and my parents and shit. Like I was not like,
Right.
I'm gonna dress up in nice clothes and be like a hot bitch. I was like, this is actually
Right.
hell on earth. And
like I hate selling bathtubs.
Yeah, I feel professionally hot when I'm wearing expensive lingerie. That's it. Like that's when I feel my best, like not when I mean like nowadays it's a little bit different, but that's just because I'm exhausted.
Look, we're just gonna gloss over that part, okay?
Yeah.
It's been 10 fucking years. We're tired.
Yeah. I like to sit in a bathrobe and feel sexy actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean like it is like what you said, like find what works for you, and if you have it, you do, and if you don't, that's okay. Like there's other things that will make you feel that like confidence. I think the professionally hot thing really is just confidence. Like it's there's tons of things out there for people to be able to do, and it can be very draining to try and find what works for you, but when you find it, you're like, oh, like this is it. And that's how I felt when I first started camming. Like if it wasn't so easy to get into, it would not have worked out the way that it has. And that's I feel like for a lot of people's jobs, like school was not easy, but it was something that you really enjoyed doing, and that's why you looked so good while you were doing it. Like
yeah, exactly.
You had a big girl thing going on, and you killed it. Like regardless of any place that you're at now, you were that bitch. You were that student bitch, and I love that for you.
It's kind of wild that I'm thinking of right now. Also, thank you very much, because I loved that for me as well. But like, if you think about it, we're talking about like barriers to entry to some degree, right? Like the barriers to get into school are pretty high, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a big financial cost. There are like placement tests you need to do. There's time requirements. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're required to do and to pay all of these things to like get into school. So the barriers are really high to accessing that.
Yeah.
Whereas like the barriers to accessing camming, like on MFC specifically, we talked about this in a previous episode. There are no requirements other than being with, you know, did you know that there's an actual age limit
Is there?
for MFC?
Like,
yeah.
you can't be
I
old?
think you can't be older. I don't think you can be older than 55.
Damn. Well, there goes
Yeah,
my retirement plan.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. We're fucked.
Yeah.
I think I know that there's an upper age limit,
Mhm.
and I believe, have talked about this before, but I will say it with my whole chest. MFC has always been and continues to be super duper transphobic
Mhm.
because they only allow cis women on their websites.
Yep.
At least you have to like present your ID.
Yeah.
And you can't have an ID that is anything other than female.
Right.
To use their site. So
Yeah,
that's
which is
lame. So
yeah,
obviously
it's
a
so
barrier.
dumb.
A barrier to accessing MFC is, you know, being cisgendered
Yeah.
and being within a certain age, but doesn't cost anything to sign up.
Nope.
And you don't have to know a lot about computers.
No, you really
Like,
don't.
you
Especially
can be
when
guided an idiot.
yeah, especially when we first started, there was no.
Yeah.
I mean, even now it's not really that complicated, but like I think because there's so many girls online, it's a lot easier to like watch and learn. Where
Yeah.
like when we first started, we were wanting to become friends with them at the same time that we were watching to like actually
Yeah.
know what to do, but it's really not that different, and it's still pretty freaking easy to just become a cam model. You just have to have
Yes.
it's the backbone
Yes.
that makes things harder. Like if
Yes,
you
but
cannot last, then you won't, you know, but
that's exactly it. There's not a ton that will stop you from camming.
yeah.
Right. But to be a cam girl, to do it for like longer than a couple weeks, like to
Mhm.
stay in the industry, to pay for your basic expenses, you know, to move up in the world, like to have savings because of camming, like there's not that many people that pull that off.
No, it's
Like there really isn't. What are we talking, like the top 2,000?
yeah. No, it's really it's a lot more
Realistically
difficult than it seems. And I think that's
Yeah.
like why we get hated on. I mean, at least, you know, in the past 10 years or whatever, you've seen a lot
Mhm.
more hate and stuff because it seems like it would be so easy, but it's like, yes,
But it's
once you
not.
get past the okay, I've signed up, I'm live streaming, I'm here, you have to have a personality. You have to be something that people want to see. You can't be copying other people because they're already there. So why would they want to see someone that's already on the site? If like, you know what I mean? Like you can't just copy and paste your personality. And you know, there may not be a interview process like where, you know, even if you want to work at a strip club, you still have to be interviewed, try out, and all that kind of stuff. You don't have that for cam, but you have your own set of interview process that comes with it when you're a few weeks in and you're like, is this something I actually want to continue doing? And you know, people are mean online. Like people were fucking awful sometimes. And
Absolutely.
that is the professionally hot backbone that you have to fucking grow. Because if you don't have it, you're going to log off crying. Like
Yeah.
people are just that mean. And that's okay. Like that's
Yeah.
that's a part of it. Like it's not okay that they're mean, but it is okay that that's like
It's just
what
you just have
comes
to
with the
develop a thick
territory.
skin.
Yeah, it's the internet.
Yeah,
like
you do.
people are gonna
Yep.
be fucking dicks on the internet, and that's just
Yep.
kind of, you know. But I think being on Tumblr,
Yep.
once again, hello Tumblr. I was used to getting anonymous hate mail every fucking day.
Yep.
So I was like,
Yep,
oh well,
straight up.
if this is as bad as it gets, I can do it. Like,
Yep.
you know. And that's
Yep.
just
Girl,
that's
I used to be on 4chan.
yeah,
as a
exactly.
teenager, okay, like I got exposed to the worst part of the internet,
Yeah.
like really fast, and was like, okay, well now I am traumatized and can probably handle anything.
Yeah, 100%. Same with like Omegle and Chat Roulette. Like we were watching adult men doing horrible things on the internet, and we were just like, interesting.
I guess this is fine.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, I think this is actually a cool conversation for me to be a part of. I mean, all of our conversations are cool, but
would you say that they're professionally hot?
I mean, I would now, because if you think about the difference between just being hot and being professionally hot.
Mhm.
It's so hard to define being professionally hot.
Yeah.
Like I'm finding it really hard to find the right words. But I think that dissonance is so super obvious when we said like, oh, anyone can sign up for a campsite,
Mhm.
right? But only what 2,000, maybe 2,500 people on the entire site can make enough to make like a living off of it.
Yeah.
Like that really goes to show that there's something that is beyond just like, I mean, so many being hot is like, I mean, it's not being hot is not that hard. That sounds so fucking rude. But like,
No, but I mean,
there's a
like,
difference.
if you're already
between-
genetically hot, it's really not that fucking hard.
That's very true.
Like, you got a
already
leg
it,
up in
right?
the world. And we know a few cam
Yeah.
models that are just fucking hot. And,
Dude.
you know, in a nice way, that is how they made it. Like, it's not that they don't have personality or the other things that make them, you know, a fun person to hang out with, but like, sometimes the guys do just want to see like some nice boobs and a pretty face, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's a big part of it. But like, a perfect example is you, where you're like, I'm not doing those things, and you know, you brought your personality to the game, and that made you professionally hot. Like, it just it still does today.
I didn't have a choice. My personality had to come with me, unfortunately.
That's what I always say too. They're always like, things are being so real.
I know, like if I could figure out how to turn that shit off, I would have done it a really long time ago.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you're so down to earth. I'm like, I literally don't have any other personality traits, so like, this is all you get. So sorry.
Yeah. You're like, wait, is that like not is that can you not be like that? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah, I would rather be delusional, like really bad.
Yeah. Well, it's the fumbling the bag thing. I wish I could be like a different kind of person while I'm on cam, but I didn't even change my name. I was like, yep.
Yeah, I thought that was so wild when I first met you. I was like, wait, so that's okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Totally
I mean, like, Sabrina's name was real, so I just didn't fucking, you know, she had her whole freaking front and last name.
True.
Front and last name, first and last name. She had her front on there too, I'm not gonna lie.
Her front name and her last name.
But like,
her back name?
I just assumed every single girl was like using their real name. So I was like, yes, Kenzie. And I still have people today that will occasionally, like, I'll go on a date or something and be like, so what's your real name? And I'm like,
you're like, this
well,
is it, dude.
Would you like to know my full name? Because that's just another part of it.
Do you want to hear something really stupid? Okay,
Yeah.
I have two things to talk about. Number one, I'm just telling you something.
Yes.
Yes. You know, for the first year of camming, I tried to lie about my birthday because, okay, get this. I was like, whoop, can't let anybody know my real birthday because then they're going to find me in real life. Like, bitch, I don't fucking know how to find someone based off their birthday.
No.
Like, what
You
is
just
the next level?
type
Like,
in
FBI is that?
to Google.
Like, oh, now I know someone's birthday. I can find where they live.
May
Please, I don't know,
30th,
that's fucking weird.
1998. Found you.
Yeah, right. Like, also, I don't think any of us need to worry about having a stage name anymore because that GeoGuessr guy could find us no matter what.
That's so true.
That guy's a threat to national security.
Dude, I was looking at
international
my
security.
I was looking at my name online the other day, and there's like way too much information about
Oh my god,
me.
I know.
I was like, what do you mean? And it was like my dad's name, my dad's phone number. I was like, this
Oh my
is
God.
dangerous, but also like, what am I supposed to do about it? Like,
Dude.
I don't even know. And at this point, I don't know. I've doxed myself. I was on TikTok live and I doxed my last name. Like, I didn't mean to, but Lily broke my bowl and I was like, Lily, and then
you full
said
named
my,
her.
yeah. And
So
then,
you dox your dog,
yeah,
technically.
yeah. And now they're coming to get her. And that is my
Oh,
own
no.
personal problem. But like,
Oh dear.
you're right. Like at this point, it's a lot. It's just like less of a threat, you know, like because it's not so taboo anymore. We have, you know, the ability to be a little bit more open with that stuff. And like, I mean, like, unfortunately, people, you said Astra's full name on camera.
Oh yeah.
And like, I've definitely said your real name by accident and been like, that's someone else I know.
Just kidding. I'm talking about you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it's just kind of how it is. I've always felt bad but especially when you're friends with someone, it's like, I don't know you as Ashley T. I know you by your name, and you
definitely know me as Ashley T. What are you talking about?
because that is your only name.
And I know you by your real name.
I almost just said my full name again.
No.
Maybe I'm just trying to
No.
expose myself, so I have to leave the internet.
Okay, so let me get this straight. In order to be professionally hot, you have to be hot, but also a secret second thing.
Yes.
And you have to use a fake name or sometimes not.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
It's basically just how
Makes
you
sense.
feel that day. Sometimes I feel like Kenzie, and sometimes I feel like Kenzie. Or Kenneth.
Kenneth?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like I said, like that taboo part of it is a lot less intense, and like camming's just so known now in different
Yeah,
ways.
we're not even cool anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, speak for yourself.
Hey.
No, I think since you got your chest tattoo, you're fucking so sick now.
Yo, I tattooed my chest, you guys.
Yeah, she's fucking
hot.
she's so professionally hot.
I'm so cool now.
You should get like an office job and then wear a blazer that only goes onto your shoulders. I feel like that'd be perfect.
While wearing a wrap dress and a lace top.
Yeah. Make sure don't forget your red lipstick and pearls.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say a little
the least hot thing
pearl
I can think of.
necklace.
Sorry to anybody out there that likes all of those things at the same time.
There's
but
a
I
girl.
think you're wrong.
There's a girl
Yeah.
sitting listening to this podcast and she's
Being like,
wearing all of that.
at work.
Yeah.
And it's 2012.
Time is irrelevant.
Yeah, what the fuck is time?
Also, guys, professionally hot means that you do not stay on track. Like you, we were just saying, no thoughts, smooth brain. You can't. You can't. You have to active listen.
Yeah, or else you can't listen at all.
And just forget everything that you're saying while you're saying it, and keep rambling. You'll catch up eventually to what you were going to say, anyways. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, step 1, shitty brain. Step 2, hot, and also question.
Yes.
Oh, it's like be hot, question, profit.
Yeah. No, 100%.
That ancient meme actually sums up sex work in like a really amazing way.
No, it really fucking does. That is exactly
Yeah.
what it is. And like along the way.
Well, that's the end of this episode.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
Tune in next week to figure out how to not be professionally hot. We don't know what we're gonna say yet, but it'll come as we go. No, I think like I forgot what I was saying.
Oh no, that's the slogan.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the slogan of being professionally hot. It'll come as we go.
Yeah, which goes for the men in the industry as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, being professionally hot has a whole array and variety of how you can do those things, and there's no wrong way, but there is a right way, and that is really just like owning it. I think that's a good part to it too, is like if you're, especially with camming, like we kind of had to decide, like if you're going to do it, you have to own it. There's no hiding it online. No. The internet is expanding every single day, and now we're at a place where camming is a little bit more accepted and people are aware of it without having to go into depth with like, you know, what is a cam model? You're like, well,
yeah, like what is
I don't even know what I'm doing. So
yeah,
you know, but now today is very different, and like I think a lot of like at least sex workers in general have really started the professionally hot thing because of escorts. Like that's what I like when I think about sex workers being professionally hot. I do think about like escorts in a hotel setting, you know, sitting at a bar, and they look fucking beautiful. And going back to what you were talking about, you know, like how do you see how do you how do you clock a sex worker? And you can tell, but at the same time, like they are pretty good at hiding it nowadays, where like, you know, you're not trying to get caught up in legal shit, and you have to be you have to be professional. You have to look talk the talk, walk the walk kind of thing, while also simultaneously being the sexiest thing they've ever seen, and finding someone that's willing to pay for it. And that's hard. That's not an easy industry to be in at all. Like we have a leg up on it when it comes to like being online and getting to kind of pick and choose who's in our room, and like if someone's not tipping, you can ban them, you know, but like
you can just kick them out.
When it comes to like stripping, and that's why I couldn't do stripping, is because I would get fired for punching someone in the face for touching me, and they'd be like, well, we're allowed to, and I'm like, well, not me. You know, but with the escorting side of things, it's very different, and like I give those women all of the credit for the professionally hot thing, because obviously
Oh
you
yeah.
have tons of like business ladies, and that's
Yeah.
amazing
They
too.
started it.
But like that was already a hard industry for women, like, you know, in male dominated places to get into and stuff, and like
Yeah.
trying not to be sexy, but also being able, like, there's so, I can't even go into how much there is when it comes to being in a business setting and being
Oh God.
professionally hot, because you have to be so careful. Like, you know, you don't want to be sexually harassed, and at the same time you want people to like you. And I just can't imagine the
Hmm.
pressure of, you know, being in that kind of setting. Like,
Yeah, it
because
sucks ass.
yeah, like we're alone doing this, we don't really have to worry about, like, you know, being sexually harassed or any of those kind of things. I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously yes, we have those things happen, but it's in an online setting, it's very different, like,
Yeah.
than
Yep.
staying late in office hours with a man who is your
Yeah.
boss and you want to move up in the industry, but like, you know, how are you supposed to do that? So I, yeah, I'm, like I said, I could go on about it for
Yeah.
hours, but
Yep.
that is the gist of the like escort side of things,
Yeah.
and being able to like clock women and be like, you do something in the
Yeah.
sex world.
Like, yeah, right? Like there's a certain there's just a certain vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's, I don't know if it's something that everybody would pick up on. I don't know if it's just the lens that I see the world through right now, because of my experiences. But
Yeah.
oh my God, okay. So it, during the time of the dinosaurs, aka when I used to go on
Yeah.
livejournal.com,
Yeah.
I think my first ever like experience finding like online sex workers, first it was with LiveJournal, and it was a financial dominatrix,
Mm-hmm.
right? For those of you listening that have no idea what that is, congratulations, it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's someone who financially dominates someone else's money, and then ta-da, they have all their money and the other person gets off to it.
Yeah.
So I saw this woman that was like, she had all these designer bags, designer purses, and like people would just send her stuff. And then I started to look at the world around me differently.
Yeah.
Like, I started to look at people walking down the street, at like men walking into the department store near my work. And I'd be like, are you buying are you buying stuff for a girlfriend, or are you
Mm-hmm.
buying stuff, for a dominatrix?
Yeah.
Like, and then I'd see like, women like dripped out, like walking on the street. And I'd be like, are you like working, are you a lawyer or are you
Mm-hmm.
dominatrix?
Yeah.
Right. And it started to kind of paint how I looked at the world around me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, I know this, like finding sugar babies on Tumblr.
Yeah.
That's when I really started to like open my eyeballs,
Mm-hmm.
like in restaurants, in bars, like, and I think that's how you and I, kind of we were in an environment, we were in a nightclub, and we saw this woman with a guy, and I think kind of anybody else may have just like looked at it like, oh, it's an age gap relationship, or like, oh, that guy just like has a really dressed up date or
Yeah.
something. But you and I were like, nah, she's working.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell the situation.
Yeah.
And I kind of just like immediately, like, I feel respect, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, respect, like I see you. I also feel like a sense of protectiveness as well.
Oh yeah,
Like,
of course.
you almost want to like keep an eye out, on the corner of your eye. You want to make sure that like her date is going
Yeah.
safely.
Well, especially if they look
you
really
know
young. Like, I think, and like
Mhm.
we'll talk about sugar daddies in the next episode.
Yeah.
But I do remember like going on dates and stuff, and I was so young that I didn't feel like I looked like an actual professional. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I looked like a child trying to dress up,
Yeah.
and was with men that were wearing like, you know, slacks and not even like a nice outfit,
Yeah.
but I'm wearing heels, and like you could just kind of get the feel, especially when they're like a
Yeah.
40-year-old man and I'm 18, you know, like
18. Yeah, exactly.
very, very different. But like nowadays, yes, I definitely am like same thing. I'm looking at, you know, trying to keep an eye out at the same time
Yeah.
while also respecting their space. And
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna like go say anything. I'm not gonna do anything. But you know,
Never.
if shit goes down, I'm aware at least, and that's
Yeah.
enough. You know,
Yeah.
and that's all I could have hoped for when I was doing that stuff, because you don't,
Mhm.
especially when I was doing it, you know, it was 2012, 2013. No one was looking out for girls like that. Like,
Mm-mm.
you didn't have people that were aware of what was going on. I mean, even with the first sugar daddy date that I had, he was like, act like you know me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
And you're
I
like,
don't. So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Let me just
I'm
pretend.
18, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, you know, it's a big part of it. And I think like you said, seeing how, you know, the world was painted through a different perspective. Like
Yeah.
you have a whole, new perspective of like, okay, well, I know that that girl does that, or she could be, the
Mhm.
lawyer or whatever, because those
Mhm.
two things, they look a lot alike nowadays.
They
Like,
do. They
you
do.
got the designer stuff on, or just like a nice dress and heels, and you have no, I don't know what they're doing, but I know that they're doing
Yeah.
something that is making them enough money, and I respect both of them. Like the hustle is
Yeah.
real.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side, just the way we started off this, like, entire episode, I also love seeing professional hotties off duty.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, I love like being out, and going to like a Starbucks or whatever and seeing some woman walk in. Like, you can tell that she has hair extensions because you can see all of them,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
she's looking fucking wrecked, like sweatpants, no makeup, like, in a lot of ways, like super busted looking, but
Yeah.
so wholesome at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this with love because I am also that busted looking
Oh yeah.
individual very often, right?
Same.
And it's like, it's giving, I'm in my ugly hours.
Hmm.
Like, I'm enjoying my ugly time because the rest of my hours I have to be, I have to look a certain way, and there's a lot of like time and energy and money and like primping or whatever that goes into looking that way.
Yeah.
And then when I'm off duty, I'm gross.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm loving being yucky.
Yeah, you deserve to have your time to be your like true form, and that doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not even like, I feel like, we're in a time where like people are like, don't talk bad about yourself, but it's not talking bad, it's being natural, it's being able to be the full, like, no makeup, like, I don't have to worry about what other people are thinking, and
Yeah.
that is such a blessing to be able to do both, like,
Yeah.
to be able to have the hot side of things. Like, I remember people saying to me like, oh, you're actually really hot. I'm like, actually, like, I'm fully aware, I just have to
Yeah.
try a little bit, because I'm like, I don't always want to try, and like, thank God, like, I kind of sometimes think about like what it would be like to be like, we used to talk about one of our cam friends and say that like, she's so hot she could get away with murder, and like,
Yep.
that's probably so much pressure to like
Oh my God,
be
that would be exhausting.
that beautiful, and like, it's not like it's a bad thing, it's just, what she was given, and that's
Yeah.
amazing, and like, she made a shit ton of money because of it and stuff, but I
Mhm.
also really like, I really appreciate being able to be the slug that I want to be when I want to be it.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
like, the
I
pressure
think
is
it's
off in those moments, and that's like the best thing I could ask for.
Yeah. In some ways though, I actually think that like okay, I don't know if this is just the natural progression of like aging and
Hmm.
like going from being a woman in her late teens, early 20s to now being a woman in her 30s.
Yeah.
But I also think that um like being professionally hot, like being hot as a job,
Hmm.
having that as like a core part of your job, it also provides like hotness validation
Yeah.
that I think, you know, hotties that aren't professionally hot or just people don't get very often,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're very used to our thirst traps getting liked,
Hmm.
people commenting on them. Like, we're so comfortable and like aware of the fact that we can do hot
Yeah.
that we're comfortable also just being fucking not hot at all because
Yeah.
we know what it's about, right? Like, we're like, yeah, look, it's not rocket science, and it's also not just something special that like is unique to like me and I've achieved this thing. No, not really. It's
Hmm.
just like, it's the right posing, the right makeup, the right lighting, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there you go, you're hot, right?
Yep.
This thing that is so coveted is like, it's not rocket science.
No.
And I think being able to turn it off and being comfortable being a slug in public
Hmm.
um kind of reflects that like confidence, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I was just gonna say, like, I still carry all the confidence with me when I am not trying, because I
yeah,
know that like, like, I have a personality. I have, I am attractive. I'm not unaware of those things, but I also am okay with what I look like when I'm not trying to be a cam model,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
not,
It's not to say that like we're endlessly confident, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm still fucking
no,
insecure about lots of stuff,
yeah,
but I don't feel the need to prove to the people around
hmm,
me that I'm
yes,
hot all the time.
yes, 100%.
Whether
That's so
that's like
true.
people I know or like people on the bus, like, why the fuck? Like, I got nothing to prove.
Yeah.
I'm already making money off this shit. Like, what else do you want from me, kind of thing,
Yeah, no, it's so true. Even when I'm like walking around outside or something, I'm like trying to like I, have a moment of thinking like, well, what if someone sees me, or I need to be like hot or something? And then I'm like, why the fuck
No.
do I care? Like, actually, I really
Yeah.
don't care. That sounds exhausting. And
Yeah.
a great example is I don't know if you've seen her on TikTok, but she goes on dates. Like, she lives in New York. She goes on dates like almost every other night, and she's kind of just like vlogging her way through it. And she's got other business ventures that have started because of it. Like, she's making really nice like candles. She's very like luxury, clean girl aesthetic. Like, she kind of gives the old money vibes, even though she's like made it herself. And her going on all these dates, like it's almost exhausting just to watch the videos, because like I have been on 3 dates in the past like couple months, and I'm wiped out from those. Like, it's so much to put that effort. And like that's her own version of being professionally hot. Like, she obviously is making money through TikTok and stuff, like doing those things, but like that is very impressive, because she is constantly being a version of herself that is for the male gaze. And I just can't do it anymore. Even when I'm posting stuff on for UGC stuff now, I'm not thinking like, how can I have sex appeal? I'm like, how do I look like actually professional? Like in that way that where like a company is going to want to use my video. And it's just so different, such a wide spectrum of like how to be professionally hot in so many different ways, which is why I said like, you can't be wrong. Like, you're not going to do anything wrong as long as you're doing it in your own way. And that's really cool. Like, it's a hard thing to jump into if you don't have the confidence, but like, fake it till you make it, because that's what I did,
Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, I think you touched on a really interesting point. I do think, again, yes, I think it's possible for like people from a massively broad scope of industries to have elements of their hotness be professional, right? Like, but to be professionally hot, to have hotness as like the core part of whatever it is you're doing for work, you are almost always catering to men. You're catering to cishet dudes. Right. And that looks a specific way.
It does.
I've had lots of guy friends over the years say, oh, damn, I wish I could, if I could, I would, or like, oh, do they have campsites for dudes? And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously, but you're performing for dudes. Like, dudes are really like, of course there are, women clients, and there are clients of like the whole fucking spectrum of like gender and sexuality. Yes, there are. But who is spending the most money all across the board is dudes.
No, it's so true. Right? Especially when we were first starting out. I think like the industry is a little different. Like, you have like people that like are, small hands and Flesh Mechanic and like those guys that like are fucking girls, and like you have a lot of girls that are like, oh my god, like daddy kind of thing, but you still have a lot of guys that are watching, and you have to be comfortable with that. Like, you just do. That's like always my thing that I say to guys, that when they're like, I want to do that, I'm like, well, you have to be comfortable with the fact that there's going to be gay guys watching you. And they're like, oh, you have to be comfortable. I'm like, well, what did you expect? That women were just going to be like, what do you think I'm doing? So it's
exactly
you're
like,
right.
What do you think I'm doing? So, in that respect, I think it's being professionally hot, being hot professionally, making money off of being hot. You really have to learn how to play the system. And that means looking at it objectively. That means looking at like, okay, what does hotness that sells, what does that look like? And how can I, and like, that's where I think all the variety comes from. I'm not like your like typical kind of stripper baddie look, right? Like, I don't have that Kim K high end, luxury sort of like what you'd think maybe like a, an escort looks like, or what, there's so many different types of hot, but the types of hot I'm thinking of are also like catered in a certain way, right?
It's true.
There's certain brands of being hot that cater toward dudes, and I think dudes don't even know why they like the things they like. They like the things they like because they've been taught that those are the things they're supposed to like.
100%. No, it's so true. Like,
but it's definitely a willingness to look at the system of what do dudes want and what will they pay for, and then running with it. That's pretty tough part, I think, of professional hotness, is having to cater to those systems.
And I think being aware of it is the only thing that really helps, like, because you get drained pretty fast in general, but I think like knowing that like, I think about the way I do my makeup when I log on cam. I would never wear that makeup when I'm out in public. It is so caked on. I feel like
Yeah.
I look like shit when I look in the mirror. But when I look
Mhm.
online, I'm like, damn, I look fucking hot. Like,
Mhm.
and I know that, and that is, a part of it. Like, I may not feel good when I look in the mirror, but I know I feel good when I look on my webcam, and that's
Yeah.
just something you gotta deal with,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that can go into a lot of things. Like, it's the same thing as like when you're, stripping in like an actual strip club, like you may not feel good in that bikini, but there's going to be men that really like that bikini. And
Yeah.
that's good enough
That's
when you're
the
trying to make
important
money.
part.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
bag.
that's the important. There's the bag. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
guess.
And that's where the hard parts come in, like with,
Mhm.
people lasting or not. Like, you have to be okay with not being the hottest to yourself, but knowing
Yeah.
that there are plenty of people that will find you attractive. And
Yeah.
that's not everything. I feel like it can definitely sound like, you have to be this like hot version, and, thank God guys will accept you, but it's not like that. It's
No,
it's
not at all.
it's the fact that like you have enough confidence to log on and be accepting of the fact that like you are for the male gaze in those moments. And
Mhm.
I think having Tumblr and stuff, like, we knew that it was for the girls, and there were so many guys online that like you just dealt with it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
it
exactly.
wasn't like you were hurting yourself to deal with those things, but that is the question that you have to ask yourself. Like, am I hurting my confidence doing these things now?
Mhm.
Like, is this,
Mhm.
am I being professionally hot, or am I just accepting that I am suffering through it? And like,
Yeah.
you don't want to be
Yeah.
suffering through it with any job. Like, you
Yeah.
should not have to do that. Like, when you were in
Yeah.
school, you felt like you were doing good, and you carried yourself with all the confidence you could. And when you're working at the law office, it just wasn't like that, and
Yeah.
you knew it, even if you were trying your hardest to keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that you've really like nicely highlighted everything. Like being professionally hot, you have to be into the profession, enough to really make it work. Like just
Hmm.
being hot is not enough,
No.
but at the same time, just being into the profession also isn't enough. You do need elements of that hotness. You do need to know what the system wants from you, the system,
Yeah.
what the looks that, that are available to you are. What are those? How can you do it to the best of your ability? And how can you combine that with your sort of interest in and like natural tendency toward selling sex in
Yeah.
some way? When you're able to combine those two things, that's when you achieve professional hotness,
Yeah.
I think.
No, it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also have a running joke that hot girls have IBS, dangly
Oh yeah.
keys, and fluffy slides. And if you have those three things, then you're already on your way.
Yeah. If you shit bricks, if you have the jangliest keychain of all time and like those really annoying, super tacky, super fluffy slides that I
Yep.
think I still have two pairs of. If you
Yep.
got those three things, then here's your $1 million on your first day. Like you're now professionally hot.
I didn't get that $1 million. Where's
Me
mine?
neither. We
I
didn't
just
poop hard
threw up.
enough. Yeah. Oh
No,
God.
it's true. I think that's a great place to end this episode. I think this one was probably about 45 minutes, and it's like,
Mhm.
we kind of covered all the bases. And if you still don't know what professionally hot is, don't worry about it.
Neither do I.
Yeah. We
Honestly, I still don't think I answered that for myself. I have no clue.
we go each day, and you learn a little bit more about yourself. And it's not everything to have to be something for work. Like, when people ask like, what's your dream job, I don't have one, because I do not dream of
I do not
labor.
dream of labor.
No, and that is totally acceptable too. Like, you do not have to be professionally hot to be successful. It's just something that
No.
definitely helps. And I think that even if you work at a Circle K, and you show up on time, and you do what you have to do, and you make your bag and go home safely at the end of the night, you're professionally hot. Like,
Yep.
sometimes it is just as simple as that. And being in the sex industry and camming industry and stuff, it's a lot more to it, because you are there for sexual things. You're there for someone to look at you. And the other jobs, you don't really always have to have that, but I think the confidence side, making yourself feel good, are the most important things when it really comes
Yeah.
down to it. And that can go for men and women. Right? Like, it doesn't matter. It's
Mhm.
really about what you feel inside, and if you feel good doing what you're doing, then you're way ahead of the game. Well, thanks for listening to us ramble
Thanks
on
for
again.
listening to our podcast again. In a final short little mini update before we let you go,
Yes.
I want to give a big round of applause to Kenzie for having finished her last month on MFC. Congratulations for moving forward.
Yes.
Also, congratulations to Kenzie for getting a brand new PC.
Woo!
And getting ready to stream on Twitch. I'm so excited for you.
It's also fun too because I'm becoming professionally hot in a different way. Like I'm kind of doing some actual business job stuff, and obviously I don't have to dress the part for it because I get to be in my house still, but it feels really nice to have a desk. I've been camming for the past 10 years basically on the floor, and I have done it well, but I'm excited. I just bought myself a nice little office chair, and that is so professionally hot of me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But also, all of this is amazing, and it also means that probably in the next couple episodes, Kenz and I will be shifting from recording podcast episodes with our phones to recording them with microphones.
Yeah, and possibly putting them on YouTube too, just as an extra place to have them at, because it's always fun to watch us struggle and ramble on.
Yeah, in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the next episode will be Sugar Daddy stuff. We will have it out next Saturday. Ashley T is going on another trip at the end of the month, so we will. Love that for you. Very professionally hot. But yeah, I think we'll have a couple episodes coming out, so that way we don't have any missed ones. And once again, just thanks for listening to us, because it makes us feel really professionally hot.
Yeah. Stay sexy, my friends.
Shameless. Bye. Wait.
Oh yeah.
Shameless self promo.
No, I don't want to be perceived anymore. Bye.
Okay, well, I'll promo.
Please buy my work.
Yes, my OnlyFans is Little Baby. My Instagram is KenzieBaby.x, and my YouTube is Kenzie Vlogs X, and my new Twitch is X Kenzie Baby. Lots of X's and Kenzies.
It's very MySpace. I'm
yes.
into it. I am Ashley T Cozy on literally every app you can think of, and I'm also Hey Ashley T on Instagram, Twitter, and that's all. No, wait, I think YouTube as well. Look, okay, I guarantee you, if you search Ashley T, you'll find me somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So go do that.
Yeah, I think your name on Twitter is Bagel right now.
It is Bagel at the moment.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you guys. Love you lots. Enjoy the past episodes. And thanks for listening.
Okay, bye.
Bye.